How are you?
Yeah, so well. Thank you so much for having us, Jill. We're so grateful to be with you.
Well, Ash, can you make this a little louder because I'm so far from you? I just want to say, first of all, before I introduce you, and I don't know if you need here, I think it's on the side. I just want to make you a little louder because I'm going to absorb every little bit of wisdom you share here. Um, I want to thank you for joining us for happy hour. Thanks, Ash. This is a very different happy hour because normally I have a Jill Martini at 4 o'clock, but today I'm having some tea,
Yay!
We love that.
courtesy of you. So we'll get into that a little later. But Sama, am I pronouncing it right?
You
Yes.
are.
And I know it hasn't made its debut yet, but it's delicious and soothing, and the energy it brings reminds me of the two of you.
Oh,
So I want to get into that. But first of all, I want to introduce you to we have a very wide fan base. So I want to, for people who don't know who you are, am I pronouncing it's Rathi, right? Although it's spelled with a D. I'm pronouncing it right, right?
It's robbie. Yeah.
Ra- but pronounce it for us because they told us it
Robbie.
D. Okay, because and you go by your both names, last name?
Yes.
Okay. So will you pronounce your full name for us and tell everybody, introduce yourself, I guess, what you would say, what I would say isn't probably what you would say. So I would love to hear how you would describe
So
yourself.
my name is Radhi devlucia Shetty, and I'm a plant-based recipe developer, an Ayurveda ambassador, and I just love sharing as much joy in the world as I possibly can.
I love that. I knew that you'd articulate that better. And Jay, how would you describe yourself?
I'm Jay Shetty, and I describe myself as an author, a podcaster, and a former monk. Before I was, of course, married, and I would describe myself as someone who's really trying to encourage more mental health and well-being conversations in the mainstream and in pop culture.
It's so interesting because this was this is a conversation that I'm so grateful to be having because I was on with my boss, Libby, yesterday, and we were talking about how, and we have a ton of viewer questions, of course, because we promoted this and everyone's so eager to hear from you, but how it's really difficult over the past year and a half. We've all been through some level of trauma.
Yes.
And when there are silver linings or happy moments, it's almost hard to embrace them and enjoy them because you either feel guilty, you feel like you shouldn't be when you turn on the news and you see what's going on. So I sort of wanted to focus this. I know we have you for a half hour and I want to get to some viewer questions and I want to talk about your tea to punctuate the conversation. But as a couple, you bring such joy and positivity into your marriage and into your lives. And I guess just saying it's okay to be happy for those moments that you can find happiness. How do you feel about what I just said? Do you agree with that?
Jay, you get best. Go ahead.
I love what you just said. I think that just as it's okay to have a bad day and to feel that emotion of stress or pain or pressure, I think it's okay to have an experience of an emotion of joy and happiness and celebration. And I really hope that in this extended period of time that we've all experienced this, I really do encourage people to find those little moments to celebrate, to take a moment to value an occasion, to really cherish a moment and allow it to be extended into more. I think it's so easy to not do that, like you said rightly, because we feel guilty, we feel we're not allowed, but actually each and every one of us has permission and a right to feel joy whenever we need to feel it. And I hope that everyone is going to try and find that moment today and for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I would, just to add to that, I always think about this where even if I have my sad moments or I'm missing my family intensely, I always think, even if there is sadness within me, even if I am feeling sad about things going on in the world, that doesn't mean we can't also at the same time be feeling joy. If something makes us laugh, we shouldn't feel guilty. If somebody makes us happy or does something lovely for us, we should still feel that gratitude and that joy, and not feel bad about it, because I've experienced that. I'm constantly sad because I'm missing my family. But at the same time, I'm like, but I also want to feel joy. Like, I want to be joyful for the little things in life, because if I'm not joyful about the little things, then it's harder to even feel joy about the big things that come our way. So I think I practice it in that way, where if I'm feeling more joy, I'm able to also give more joy. And so in that way, I feel it's also a responsibility to make sure you're feeling joy.
So let's talk about that, because I feel like over the past year and a half, especially with our platforms, but just as a human being, that we have a responsibility to bring joy and happiness and calm and kindness into the world, just because of the way the energy is. I mean, do you feel like this pandemic, I wanted the title of this, I titled it Silver Linings, because do you feel like what should people be focusing on now with everything going on in terms of finding silver linings and what that responsibility is?
Yeah, I think, to me, the real silver lining has been focusing on all the incredible stories that we've got to experience because of incredible healthcare workers, frontline workers, people working in stores and shops. And I think there have been so many beautiful examples. I remember right back to the beginning of the pandemic, and you had people playing their instruments on balconies, or you had personal trainers doing workouts. And to me, that's the silver lining, is we've actually seen so much of the best of humanity as well at this time. And that, to me, is what we get hope from. That's what we get excited about, is learning about those good news stories, those examples of people that have gone out of their way to help someone or serve someone. I know on my Instagram page, I'm always coming across like really cute stuff that's happened this week, or really beautiful stuff, and wanting to share that, because I think that often we don't get the exposure to so many wonderful things that are happening locally or globally or nationally. We just don't hear about them. So I'm so grateful that you allowed this space to be silver linings too, because there's such a need for that. So to me, silver linings come from looking towards the people that are making a change in the world, and looking at how beautiful that is, and taking responsibility in our own way to be that. For whether it's, we always think, if I can't help 1,000 people, if I can't help 1,000,000 people, then it's not worth it. But the truth is that improving one person's life, it matters, it counts. And so our responsibility doesn't have to feel like a burden. It doesn't have to feel like something really big. It can really be, I just want to help one person in my life or in my community that really needs it.
Is that really how you, and Raya, I'd love to hear what you feel about that too, but I think people get overwhelmed. We were talking about how you look at your calendar and you say, my boss was saying, I have 19 meetings. And she said her focus was, let me just focus on one meeting at a time and being present for each. So should people who are listening, in terms of, helping and feeling a responsibility, should it be like, be kind to that one? If that one person isn't nice, be kinder to bring, like, where do you put the responsibility there?
I always think about whatever I'm giving out is what I'm cycling into the world. Like, that's how I see my responsibility, of whatever I'm giving out, whether it's energy, whether it's words, whether it's my actions, I am giving that out into the world. That's affecting the total energy that's around me, that people are experiencing. And so the collective energy you also take part in. And so for me, I see that as my responsibility of how am I being conscious about what I am putting into the world. And if that one person had a bad day and happened to be mean to me, I'm thinking, well, if I then reciprocate in the same way, we are both that collective energy is always going to be negative. But if I'm addressing, or if I'm coming at it with some sort of positivity, even if it's such a struggle, at least it's a little bit balanced out. Like, at least I'm neutralizing the situation.
Can you give me an example of that, like of something that could happen that people could relate to, that you would say, and how you would react in a better way?
Sure. Let's say or I'll give an example of the other way, where I've had a bad day and I call my mama. And somehow I end up just being agitated and aggressive because of whatever else has happened in my day. She responds to me and saying, are you okay? Like better, which means like, are you okay? What do you need? Like, how are you? Like, what do you need? Are you tired? And so when she reciprocates with me with love, even though I've gotten agitated with her, naturally it almost just like, it tones me down straight away. And I'm like, oh, like it brings awareness to my mind. And so if I can be that person for someone else through that chain, then yeah, I hope that was a good example, but I just remembered it because I did that last week.
No, it is a good example because I feel like, and Jay, I mean, like, I feel like sometimes we go down a road. It could be eating, like you eat badly. Eating to me is a perfect example. Like you eat a donut in the morning and then you're like, forget it. I'll just like keep eating badly
The
and I'll
whole
start
day.
over. Right. And then I'll start over tomorrow. Like we all do that. But like, it's okay to turn around. Like it's okay to go down a road and turn around. And I think collectively, is that something, you know, and I follow you both. So I see all the happy and but is that what you think we need to do as a community?
Yeah, that's such a wonderful question, Jill. I really value that. And I think I genuinely believe that what we need to do as a community is each of us look at our own selves and see what we can improve personally. If we start there, so much good will come from that, because it's so easy and common for us to look outside and see what needs to change and see what needs to be better and see what needs to improve. And if everyone just looked at themselves and said, oh, well, you know, like what Riley just said, like, this is what I need to work on, and we just worked on that, that's going to create so much more of a domino effect than we can even imagine. Like, for example, if I say to you, like what you just said, if I've been eating badly and therefore I'm feeling bad about myself and that's kind of coming out through my relationships, if I just start eating well for myself, that's going to have a domino effect on everyone, from who I work with to my children to my partner. And that's really where it starts. And so to me, all of that change, all of that momentum begins when we find that stillness, we find that equanimity ourselves, rather than trying to find it outside of us, where there'll always be something new that's wrong that week, or there's always going to new piece of news where something's not quite working out. And so we have to bring the focus back to ourselves. I hope that answers your question, Jill.
It does. I mean, the energy is so, to me, thick right now that like, I feel like everything you put out is like electric. I don't know if that, you know, if you believe in energy, that's like, so like in your marriage, for example, and, you know, I'm sure nothing is perfect, right? Like you would agree, nothing in life is perfect, but you're two people who put positivity into the world, who truly believe it. I believe, you know, I believe you walk the walk internally, that if we were to follow you around, your life would look like what we would expect it to look like. Does that make sense? Like, so when you guys interact and there's, you have disparities or you have, you know, problems, how do you handle that? Because I think, you know, a lot of people throughout this year and a half have been through breakups, marriages. It's been so like binary, like so electric, you know? So how do you guys deal with that?
You know, I have to say one thing that I have learned from Jay through our relationship. I've learned a lot, but the one thing that I absolutely love that he has practiced with me throughout the 5 years of our marriage is every time we argue, if it gets heated, he says, just remember, it's me and you against the problem, not me and you against each other. We love each other. We are never.
Wait, say that again. I have the children. Me and you against the
problem, not me and you against each other. And honestly, it diffuses the situation straight away, because it's not our egos at each other. It's not me trying to one up on him or him trying to one up on me. He always, even if I'm in the wrong, he will forever live to that truth of, it's never me against you. I'm never trying to get one up on you. I want to move past this situation together. I don't want to fight you or battle you on it. And I think, you know, that with anybody that you love, whether it is a husband or whether it is a friend or whether it's your mom, you know, saying it's me and you together trying to resolve this issue, not me and you against each other trying to battle it out. And so for me, that's been something that I've kept in my mind every time I get a bit sassy. And
and Jay, what would you say the opposite way? Because I think that was like, I would say a compliment in as much as it could be in terms of how an argument plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and Jill, you know, I love what you said. Like, first of all, I think the perfect version of relationships or work or marriage or anything that's been projected, and almost there's a part of us that also wants to see it. So even as a listener or a viewer, we want to see perfection because that's what we've seen on TV for so long, and movies and music. And you're spot on. There is no such thing. It doesn't exist. And actually what exists is so much more beautiful and so much more deeper because it requires learning and work. So from my side, I'll tell you a mistake I make. One of the things that I do is if I'm having a busy day or a hectic day or I have a lot on, I'll often respond to Radhi through my own insecurity or my own ego. So I think we all do this. For example, you're there, you're having a disagreement at work, your partner messages you something totally unrelated, and now you respond back with the energy you just took at work. So I go back going, I don't have time for this right now. Like, this is not important right now. And my partner's not telling me it's important. It's just that I feel I have something more important to do, and I'm now reflecting that onto them. So I've struggled with that for a long time, and I still make that mistake where I'm dealing with something I think is big. And the problem is, I think it's bigger than what my partner's asking me. And what I've started to realize is that what I'm trying to practice is stop trying to see things as bigger or less bigger or more important and less important. Start seeing things for just what they are and start responding to your partner without insecurity and ego. And it's better to reply saying, I'll reply to this when I'm in the right state of mind, rather than replying with that insecurity or ego. And so for me, sometimes I'll say to Radhi, you need to give me 10 minutes and I promise you I'll give you a better answer. Or I just need you to be patient for like an hour, because I realize that if I don't ask for that time, I'm actually responding from a place of insecurity. And what Radhi helps me do in that situation is she'll say, I understand. Talk to me in 10 minutes, talk to me in an hour. And so that's why it's a collaboration. It's not a one-way street. It's like I'm requesting something from her, and her giving that space to me allows me to give her a healthier response.
And you know, there's this really, sorry, no, I just wanted to add to that, there's this, something that I've been trying to practice is taking that moment between receiving and responding. And I think that's almost the hardest thing to do in any kind of argument or in any kind of conflict, is taking just that millisecond, that moment before you respond from what you've just received, which can change the tone, the words that you choose to use. Because usually when you respond out of an instance or out of aggression, it's always going to be probably not what you want to say. So yeah,
right. It's like saved draft.
Yeah,
like in like the version of saved draft. So, but as you speak about this, and it's a beautiful way to argue, because I think like nothing is, I mean, we've all learned, especially over this last year and a half, what we've been going through, nothing is perfect. But what has to be at the foundation there? So there has to be inherent trust. Like, you know, you have each other's backs. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what has to be at that foundation in order for that kind of correspondence to work? Because I feel like a lot of, you know, I went through it, a lot of breakups happened, a lot of marriages happened, a lot of polarizing, you know, things happened during the past year and a half. So what's at the core of what you're saying?
Yeah, first of all, Jill, I think it's really important to what you're sharing is that it's not surprising to me that so many relationship changes and shifts happen, because we all just went through something really extreme that no one experienced before. So it's almost like the extremity of what we've all gone through. It's natural for things to build and things to break because it was so extreme. In the same way as, you know, when something big like that happens that everyone in the world is affected by, of course, everyone's going to respond to it differently. And so, you know, in the same way as so many people during the pandemic decided to move, decided to redo their homes.
Right.
All that happened because all these big things that people would have let go for like 5, maybe 7 years, everyone felt like they had to do it now. And so I just want to take a moment to just be empathetic and compassionate to the fact that there are people who just, I understand if you realize you had to break up. And I would actually say the foundation of it is being honest with yourself and being honest with each other. And if being honest with yourself made that you had to separate ways, that's beautiful. And if being honest with yourself meant you came closer together, that's beautiful. And I think the more we can recognize the value of both of those paths, being based on being honest with ourselves and the person we're with, that to me is at the foundation of it. Even me communicating, saying, hey, you know what, I can't think about that for 2 days, I just need space. That's honesty. And when Radhi can receive that in an honest space, so to me, it's that truthfulness and honesty with each other that stands as a foundation, whether the result is positive or negative in the externals of where the relationship goes.
Do you think that's like, do you believe in soulmates? Like, do you believe that you two found each other? And it seems like, you know, from just someone watching and the thousands of people watching right now, you know, you look at the two of you and you're like, it's sort of like on this pedestal of positivity and a beautiful relationship. Do you believe there's only one soulmate? Do you believe that you guys were meant for each other? Like, what's your stance on that?
You know, if I'm completely honest, and me and Jay talk about this all the time, in the first, I'd say 3 to 5 years of our relationship, we went through a lot of work that had to be done for us to get to the place where we're at right now. To the point where it was, you know, we both have spoken about this in public before, where we've both had issues to the point where we've said, you know, we could just live a mediocre relationship. Like, I like you, you like me, and, you know, that's enough. And what we realized was, if we wanted it to be magical and we wanted it to be, you know, we had the right ingredients, we needed to know how to use them together. And so we had to put in a lot of work. There was a lot of arguments. There was a lot of silence. There was so much that we went through in the first 5 years of our relationship actually years.
No, tears.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not good with numbers. But like the amount of time that we had to go through and the amount of pain and like crying and whatever it was that we went through to finally get to a point where we feel understood by one another, it took a lot of work. And that could have gone extremely wrong if both of us weren't willing to meet in the middle and actually put in the effort that it took to understand one another and to understand myself. He was so self-aware when I met him, and I had so much work to do to figure out who I was, and that meant spending time with myself and dating myself for a long time to really get, like, I had to have a relationship with myself before I decided
Talk about that a little more. Talk about dating yourself. I think that that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I realized after I got married to him that I actually didn't know much about myself. Like, seeing his self-awareness made me realize how little I understood about myself and how I was basing everything about me on what he liked or what my mum liked or what my sister liked or everybody else's preferences were actually mine, because I hadn't taken the time to figure out what I wanted. And so I had to spend so much time unfolding, what is it I actually like? Do I actually want to do this in my life? Is this the work I want to be doing? What is it that brings me joy, not what brings other people joy? And it took me a good 2-3 years. I feel like I'm still on that journey, but it took me a long time of journaling, of writing down my thoughts, of seeing how my words were different to my thoughts. And, you know, I went through so much to figure out, oh, this is actually who I am. These are the decisions I want to make, not led by anybody else. And this is who I love being versus who other people love me being. And yeah, once I figured that out, I feel I was able to give so much more of me because I knew what I was giving.
So do you believe in your relationship that time apart is and time alone is important? And I know when, you know, Jay, you spend a lot of time alone and that built your self-awareness, but how important is that in a relationship? You know, there's a difference between intimacy and enmeshment. So how important is that?
Yeah, I love those two words actually you just said, Jill. They're great words. And, you know, for me, I think the challenge is when your partner says to you, I need a bit of space, we take it personally.
Yeah.
I think that means space from us. And often, and this is the clarifying question, it's like when you take space in a healthy way and you give space in a healthy way, the person won't think it's about them. They just realize you're in a totally different mind, a totally different brain, and you need to process that. You need time to switch off and unwind in a way that's very personal. I think that space apart can be really healthy when it's done in a way where you realize that it's not about you, it's not personal, it's not because you did something wrong, it's because we are all individuals and we need time to process and heal our own challenges and our own days. I know that there's certain weeks where on the weekend, I know that if I don't spend it alone, I'm going to have no energy to give Radhi. And if Radhi forces me and says, no, but we have to spend it together, then now I'm going to be bad company. As opposed
So
to,
you spend weekends, if there are weekends, you'll say.
We
like,
have half a day of our weekend where he's doing his own thing, or usually at least like half a day on Saturday, half a day on Sunday, where he's doing his own thing and I'm doing my own thing. And then we come together and we do something together. But even when we argue, it's like he used to come to me and be like, no, let's talk about this right now. And I'm like, I need a minute. Like, I need to go away and process it so I can, you know, I know what I want to say and what I want to talk about. And so we've had those moments of where he's wanted to talk and I've wanted to go away. And now we've come to an agreement where, yeah, we do know the times when we need to spend alone and we take them and we honor it as well. We accept the other person needing it. And yeah, we've got things to do separately too.
Yeah, well, I could speak to you guys for hours. I know that you have a hard out in a few minutes, and I just wanted to get to a couple of things. But I just wanted to say, like, I find the two of you. I mean, I follow you, but I think first I speak for so many. You know, no one's perfect and nothing's perfect. But thank you for sharing all your wisdom and what you know, and like just helping us all try to be better, kinder, more compassionate, empathetic human beings, both individually and just to see it as a couple together. I'm so grateful because we actually found you together because I had heard about this, which, let me come up close. I'm drinking it and it's delicious, but this is a project.
Your dress matches perfectly, Jill. Your dress.
I know. And I just got it today. They delivered it to the Today Show. So let me just show everybody. And this is your new baby. So tell me about this and when it's everything. Tell us all about it.
So we drank a lot of tea during the pandemic. And
what's a lot?
A lot meaning like 4 cups a day.
Yeah.
3 to 4 cups a day.
Okay.
And the amazing thing is that Radhi and I both have a history of drinking tea in our lives. We were both tea lovers before we met, and tea's been a big part of our lives since we met. And Radhi would always make homemade teas. So she'd be in her little herbs and like mixing them all together. And we would drink them and they were so great. They didn't just, you know, taste good. They felt good too. And what we realized is that to both of us, tea was more than tea. It was about being present. It was about being still. It was about being mindful. It was about sharing a moment together. And we thought, you know, we're always trying to control our minds, but what if you had something in your hands and that you could smell, that you could inhale, that you could breathe with, that you could look at the color, that you could taste? What if we could create something that you could experience that gave you that sense of calm and stillness? And that's where Sama was born, because Sama has many different meanings, but one of its meanings is equal, unchanged, and tranquil, still. And this was the feeling and experience we wanted people to have, is that when they could practice Sama and find that equanimity in their own life and have that moment of presence.
So they each have an explanation, like calm and relax, focus and clarity, protect and support, awaken and energize. So first of all, these are not out yet, right?
No. They're coming out this fall.
This fall. So, and where could people get them? I'm sure you'll keep everyone updated and they could follow you, but where is it coming out?
So they're on samatea.com. That's the best place to. You can join up.
We missed you. Somebody's ringing. I have a bug in my face. This is like working from home. So samatea.com is where they'll be. And I do have to say, and it comes with a card and a beautiful box. We're so excited to be sharing Sama with you. Welcome to the family. We can't wait for you to try it, and we're grateful for your time. We hope it calms your mind and heals your heart. And that's the card. Tea tastes better together. So it's a really beautiful project. Are you guys so jazzed about it?
So excited. So excited because we've spent over a year just really perfecting the blends. Like, we've spent so long trying to make them something that we feel so proud of, so excited to share with other people, and also to make it something that does do all those things that it says on the packet. It will help to energize you. It will help to calm you if it says it's going to calm you, because all the ingredients we've chosen have been specifically chosen for that, to have an effect on you. So I'm excited for everyone to be able to try it and to bring a little bit of us into their homes with them.
I'm so honored to be able to. It just the smell of it, like as I was,
Which one are
as
you drinking?
Which one?
I am drinking the calm and relax
Okay.
Nice.
because this has been a week. But I guess so with this, I know I see the comments are really excited for this to come out, and I'm grateful that I have the first opportunity to try it. And believe me, I will be drinking every little bit of it. But I guess before we let you go, what would you say? I have this problem. There's that point, like that fork in the road, that you can either like fly off the handle or save draft. And I know you wanted to do a breathing exercise, but what could people do? Like if you're at a moment with the energy as electric as it is in your life, in the moment today, tomorrow, and you're watching and you need to just like figure out, am I going to fly off the handle or am I going to pull myself together and improve the energy in the space room? Is it a deep breath? Is it a minute to yourself? Like, give us just like, it's almost like I'm looking for like a trick or tip.
Well, I would say, honestly, breath is known to be the anchor between, or the link between your mind and your body. It brings you back to your present moment. And so I find for me, it is just taking a simple deep breath. It sounds so cliche, but it is true. The breath connects your mind back to your body and brings you back into the moment. And so
what will you do? Like, show us.
I would honestly just put my hand on my heart and I would take a deep breath in and fill your belly, your chest, your lungs, and then exhale everything that you possibly can, as much as you can get out. And usually what I'll do is with every breath in, I will think about a quality that I really want to embody, whether it's patience or presence. And then as I'm exhaling, I will intensely have the intention to release anything that doesn't serve me. Whatever it is in my body that I'm holding on to that I no longer need, I am intentionally releasing it through each exhale. And whatever it is in that moment, I find that really, if it doesn't take it away, it definitely helps in some way. That for me has always been my anchor to bring me back to the moment.
Jill,
Jay, would you agree?
Yeah, breath work is just underrated. It's massively underestimated. I use it before I go on stage. I use it when I'm stressed. I use it throughout the day. That's the beauty of it. And I think I want to add one more that I think can be a little trick in your toolkit, Jill, that, as you said, there's one I was taught this as a monk for presence, but it's also used today by psychologists and therapists for anxiety. It's called the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. So what you want to do is when you're feeling like there's too much going on, you want to just try and be where you are. And the best way to do this is look at 5 things that you can see around you. So the sky, the ceiling, the ground, the chair, whatever's around you. And then you want to look at 4 things you can touch, and you want to touch them and feel them. So I'm feeling my shirt, my trousers, my laptop, my phone. And you want to really experience the texture when you do this on your own. Like, really take a moment to feel, how's that different to what I just felt over there? Then you want to pause for a second and be like, what are the 3 things I can hear? And it might just be white noise. It might be a little bird that's over there, just taking a moment to hear.
Might be you.
It might be me. And then 2 things you can smell. So you take an inhale. Taking a moment to be present with that. And then 1 thing you can taste. And so you do 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. And that just totally brings you back to right where you are right now. And from this place of alignment and clarity, you can now focus on whatever you want to do. I mean, I already felt slowed down and we didn't even do it properly. But just taking a moment to even just hear the sounds around you, just disconnects you from the noise in your mind.
We're going to write that up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it doesn't take, I mean, that whole process probably takes a few minutes.
No, it is. And it takes 30 seconds. And it's a beautiful technique that therapists and psychologists and everyone are sharing now. It's become so prominent. And it's such a simple technique that all of us can do.
Well, I've never heard that before, but I like it. I mean, it's we so often look for quick fixes, but sometimes we need them in our toolkit. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And I know you guys have to go. I just want to say I'm excited for everybody to experience this and to get a piece of you and your energy into his or her home. And I'm so grateful to the two of you for joining us for happy hour. It's my first
Thank
one
you.
with tea. And cheers to you and positive energy and for just spreading it and to your beautiful marriage. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're the sweet. I hope to get to meet you very soon. I'm really.
I know. I'm a huge fan, and I think everybody else is too. And your relationship is so inspiring, and I think this conversation can really change the game for a lot of people. So thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much for having us. Take care.
Bye.
Bye,
Take
everyone.
care.
Bye, everyone.
I mean, are they incredible? I could start crying right now. I'll write out the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think my producer Jordan's watching. The tea is available this fall. It really is delicious. I wasn't a huge tea drinker, but you know when you just get like totally into an energy in a moment, and I am going to try what they said. So thank you for joining us for happy hour. It's sort of a unique one. And today all day we had our show today, our debut, and I'm so happy so many of you are loving it. And it'll air again. It's airing now, so if you want to tune in and on today.com, the video player, and then tonight at 8 o'clock. And it's all about, you know, more healing your space, bringing in beautiful energy, cleansing different rooms in your house to bring in fresh energy. So thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to Jay and Roddy. I mean, their relationship is just, it's so inspirational and beautiful. And it was great spending happy hour with you. So I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I am at home and I am with the third hour, and we are doing how to improve your space. So I hope you'll join us from 9:30 to 10 and have a beautiful night, everybody. Bye.